Over a new episode, we get an expat who is bringing smoothie goodness to the local population in Rosarito.
We try his stuff as he surprises us with the variety of ingredients he has on hand.
No way! With the show?
Yeah. Then we visit historian Juvenal Arias, who shares fascinating stories about the city of Rosarito.
Watch live Thursday at 9:30 or stream now with KPBS Plus.
Tomorrow marks the start of a new Congress, but the story at the Capitol is a familiar one.
Victims and advocates against human trafficking continue raising awareness around the issue.
Interpol has been on a state of alert as it tackles the legal...
The U.S. Department of Justice has now responded to...
All the news you need, weeknights starting at 4 on KPBS. You're watching KPBS. Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 45 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
It's the day after California's primary election, and while the votes are still being counted, frontrunners in major races are emerging. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. We begin our coverage with one of the most closely watched contests, the 48th Congressional District. County Supervisor Jim Desmond and City Council member Marnie Von Wilpert will advance to the general election in November. KPBS reporter Jake Gada has more from the candidates.
Desmond got out to a commanding lead early last night that had him declaring victory even before the race was called. His win was expected. He was the leading Republican in the race with an endorsement from outgoing Congressman Darrell Issa and President Donald Trump. Desmond ran his campaign promising to cut taxes and regulations and also secure the border. But what's interesting is what he said last night after claiming victory.
I'm going to do the same things no matter who I'm running against, is bring resources from Washington, D.C. back here to Southern California to fix some of our issues. You know, the American dream of affording a house, immigration. We still need an immigration system that works.
Addressing the cost of living and housing affordability was really a focus of the campaign for many Democrats, and Desmond made sure to mention that. And he went out of his way to talk about reforming the immigration system rather than just repeating the line about a secure border. He knows the playing field is uneven. There's far more registered Democrats in the new 48th than registered Republicans, so he'll have to reach some more moderate voters if he wants to win in November. Councilmember Marnie Von Wilpert, on the other hand, talked a lot about affordability, but she's also focused on standing up to Donald Trump. Whether that meant pushing back on immigration enforcement or stopping the war in Iran, Democrats got Prop 50 passed last year to help retake the House of Representatives so they could put a check on President Trump's agenda. And Von Wilpert said she's the right candidate to do that last night.
I was the only Democrat running in this race who's actually beaten Republicans in a tough district before and flipped some major seats. And I've delivered too. You know, Democrats, we need more than just a message. We need to show people results. We need more to be than just anti-Trump. We have to be for a brighter future for America.
This is one of the districts that Democrats are looking to flip, not just in California, but nationwide. In the current House, Republicans hold just a 5-seat advantage out of the 435 total. Democrats are hoping to change that with this midterm election in November. And because we're out here on the West Coast, the 48th could end up being one of the last House districts decided, and it could make or break a Democratic majority. Jake Gada, KPBS News.
Results are still coming in for California's primary election, with hotly contested races up and down the ballot. To break down some of the key local races, Voice of San Diego Scott Lewis is joining us. Welcome, Scott.
Thanks, Maya.
So one of the top races that you're watching is San Diego City Council District 2, which covers Claremont, Ocean Beach, and Point Loma. What issues would be at play as we head into November?
Well, the city for many years has been on this path of trying to encourage and support more development. And these two candidates who are advancing the runoff have been a lot more suspicious of it. I think another big issue that'll come up is the Midway Rising development, 4,000 plus new units. Both have expressed skepticism about it. Richard Bailey, who has advanced the runoff, there was a mailer claiming he was going to stop it. When I talked to him, he said obviously he can't do that, but I wonder how big a deal Midway Rising will be. They both expressed concern about the trash fee and other taxes, but that's now not an issue, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, one city council contest that's still up in the air is the race for District 8, and that covers San Diego's border with Mexico. So what do you think is going to be the deciding factor there?
Money. The money campaign there will make a big difference. The largest union of city employees supports Gerardo Ramirez, who looks like he's right there to make the runoff. There's also a group that's trying to build a landfill at the border. They've had a little bit of opposition, and they've invested a lot of money supporting him as well. Antonio Martinez is the top candidate so far. If he makes it, it'll be a really interesting race between them.
Yeah. So there was also one ballot measure for the city of San Diego, and that was Measure A.
Yeah.
It would tax second homes that are left vacant for most of the year. But opposition came out strong. Tell us about that.
I think a lot of us were surprised. $1 million came in mostly from the realtors opposed to this. A lot of people thought maybe San Diegans would, as much as they don't like taxes, would support taxes on somebody who isn't even living here or is just keeping a home empty. That proved not to be the case. So money always makes a difference.
It sure does. Republican Carl DeMaio further solidified himself in local conservative politics, and he was already set to advance into the November election. But what sort of success did he see last night?
You know, he supported 3 candidates, and other Republicans supported 3 other ones, and there was a really bitter fight between them that went all the way to the California Republican Party, brought in a lot of different elements of accusations and such. He won all 3 of them, his slate did, and I think he established himself as the kingmaker in Republican politics, if not here, across the state as well. So he'll be gloating about that a little bit, I bet.
I'm sure, yes. Thank you so very much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Maya.
And for more of the latest election results, you can check out the KPBS Voter Hub. You can find a link right on our homepage, or you can go to kpbs.org/vote.
Well, once again, dropping down to the low 60s, some of those intermittent clouds. Now, we are seeing some ebb and flow of the marine layer, not a lot of long-term changes. There's a lot of back and forth going on in the forecast. I'll explain why coming up.
A vegetation fire that erupted near Tecate Peak Monday is now 5% contained. CAL FIRE officials say the cross-border fire has charred more than 2,600 acres south of Del Zura. CAL FIRE Captain Oscar Sotelo says last night's marine layer, humidity, and nighttime firefighting helped increase containment. He expects a similar weather pattern tonight. An evacuation warning remains in place. Sheriff's officials say the Spring Valley Community Center is serving as an overnight shelter. The cause of the fire is under investigation. New developments in the war with Iran, the ceasefire being tested with the biggest exchange of strikes in weeks. Overnight Iranian missile attacks and U.S. retaliatory strikes are casting doubt over diplomacy and whether talks are ongoing or reaching any conclusions. Brian Abel has the latest from Washington.
Iran overnight Tuesday firing missiles and drones at U.S. targets in Kuwait and Bahrain. U.S. Central Command says none of those strikes were successful at hitting intended targets, but Kuwait's airport taking a hit.
The destruction has been quite significant. So what this shows is that the air defenses, air and missile defenses in the Persian Gulf region are not what they should be.
The U.S., meanwhile, launching what it calls self-defense strikes at military installations on Iran's Qasem Island. Earlier Tuesday, the United States targeting a Botswana-flagged oil tanker with a Hellfire missile, disabling it near an Iranian port after what the U.S. military says were repeatedly ignored warnings to not break the port blockade. The exchanges testing the ceasefire at a moment when it's unclear where peace talks stand. President Donald Trump saying this in a Wednesday podcast interview.
They've already agreed they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. Have they? Oh, yeah, they've agreed to that.
But just a day earlier, Secretary of State Marco Rubio suggesting to senators that Iran hasn't made that commitment.
These are highly technical matters, so I don't think you could work those out in 5 days. That would require a team of experts to meet over a 30, 60, 90-day period and work out the details, but they have to commit to their willingness to do that.
In that podcast interview, President Trump saying he now has to make a determination to sign a deal or, quote, do it the other way. In Washington, Brian Abel, KPBS News.
Flows of raw sewage in the Tijuana River and sewer gas odors continue to increase after a wastewater pipeline in Tijuana collapsed. The U.S. International Boundary and Water Commission says sewage flows spiked from 10 million gallons Friday to 51 million gallons yesterday. The agency also says its treatment plant north of the U.S.-Mexico border is processing flows well above its capacity. San Diego County public health officials say people near the river should limit their outdoor activities. Mexican officials say they expect emergency repairs to take several days. San Diego is exploring selling its Colorado River water to other states that need it. KPBS reporter Katie Anastas says desalinated seawater is making it possible.
Water officials signed a memorandum of understanding that kicks off efforts to sell Colorado River water across state lines. Drought, heat, and a record low snowpack have reduced the river's supply to about 36% of capacity. Colby Pellegrino is with the Southern Nevada Water Authority. She says water transfers could help agencies adapt as drought conditions continue.
But a huge part in our ability to sort of weather this drought is getting to adaptations, and interstate transfers are an important adaptation. When there's extra water in one place, being able to use it in another place.
Nick Serrano chairs the San Diego County Water Authority Board. He says this represents
a willingness to explore, a willingness to collaborate, a willingness to ask whether local investments in water reliability, like desalination, like recycling, like pure water, can play a broader role in helping support water security in other communities.
The Carlsbad desalination plant takes water from the ocean and turns it into drinking water. About 10% of the region's water comes from the plant, but it could make up more.
At times, it's only at a third or half capacity because of the amount of water that San Diegans are using.
Dan Denham is the general manager of the San Diego County Water Authority. He says using more desalinated water would allow San Diego to leave some of its Colorado River water in the Lake Mead Reservoir.
And so there's two options with that water. Nevada can take it through their intake at Lake Mead, or it can travel south through the Central Arizona Project into the communities of Phoenix, Tucson, etc.
The next step is for water officials to negotiate things like the price of the water and how much would be available. Katie Anastas, KPBS News.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, an attack on Kuwait's largest airport tests the U.S. ceasefire with Iran. That's coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
We're expecting to get updated results in Tuesday's primary election tomorrow night, but here is a look at where some of the key races stand now. Election officials say California's crowded gubernatorial race is still early to call, but some top contenders have emerged from the pack, and they include President Trump-backed political commentator Steve Hilton with 27% of the votes. On his heels is former Biden administration Health Secretary Xavier Becerra at 25%, and billionaire Democratic activist Tom Steyer rounding out the top three with just under 20%. In San Diego, Democrats see an opportunity to win District 5 county supervisor seat held now by Republican Jim Desmond. Early results have a Republican mayor of San Marcos, Rebecca Jones, in the lead with 41% of the vote. Democrat Kyle Crahall is second with 20%, and Vista Mayor Republican John Franklin is just behind Crahall with 19%. The top two finishers will face off in November's general election. In Chula Vista, incumbent Republican Mayor John McCann has a wide lead in the mayoral primary election with 60% of the early vote. Chula Vista Elementary School District trustee Francisco Tamayo is currently running a distant second with 36%. Should these results hold, McCann and Tamayo, who is a Democrat, will face off in November. It looks like the matchup for California Superintendent of Public Instruction is coming down to San Diegan Richard Barrera and Chino Valley Sonia Shaw. Barrera is currently the president of the Board of Education for the San Diego Unified School District. Shaw holds the same job for the Chino Valley Unified School District. The latest returns show Shaw in first place with about 25% of the vote and Barrera in second with nearly 19%. But the Democratic vote was split between several candidates. while Shaw consolidated the Republican vote. Barrera says his record in San Diego means he's the best choice for the job.
And all of that experience of a community that really has come together and said, we believe in our young people and we're going to prioritize our public schools, has led to the strongest student outcomes of any large urban district in the nation.
California's current superintendent, Tony Thurmond, was termed out of office. He ran unsuccessfully for governor. 2 local artists are celebrating their end of residency exhibition while also pushing back against harmful narratives as women of color in the United States. KPBS arts reporter Audie McAfee speaks with them about what their identities mean to them as America approaches its 250th birthday.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Marcela Larcon Lopez and Eden De La Barra finished their emerging artist residency at the Arts District Liberty Station last year. At the end of the program, artists participate in an end-of-year exhibition. Lopez and De La Barra's exhibition is called Fragmented Stories. It combines paintings and textiles exploring identity, history, and the body as women of color. De La Barra says the showcase carries many meanings for them.
Marcela and I's work does pull in some different directions, and I think there is fragmentation in our approaches and the context that we live in. But I think there's also a lot of unity in what we're trying to say and the heart behind our work. So I think Fragmented Stories kind of encapsulates those themes.
When you look at their art displayed on the gallery walls, it almost looks like they planned it together.
I didn't see her and she didn't saw me, but we saw each other's work. And then I started like catching myself like using some, like unconsciously, like using the same colors.
While De La Barra resides in San Diego, Lopez had to cross the border from Tijuana every time she wanted to work on her art.
It was like a very hard process to just crosswalking and walking the border and then getting to the trolley and then the bus and then come and paint and then go back and la la la. And that's like every day, and it was like very nerve-wracking and a very harsh experience.
Lopez's residency announcement gave her more exposure, but it also made her feel more vulnerable to public comment, like negative messages on her Instagram account, and a feeling of being monitored every time she crossed the border. She says this experience helped shape the main theme that comes across in her paintings: surveillance.
So I started thinking about this virtual surveillance and, like all these like notifications I was receiving from ICE and the border and the visa and in my bank account and in my emails, just for crossing the border and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm being identified.
During the process of traveling and creating her art, Lopez says she doesn't necessarily feel connected to the American dream.
I'm not an American in the America for the Americans way and all of that in a nationalist way or in a legal way, right? I am an American in the sense that I live in America, the continent. It's like, I don't know why that's like such a crazy statement to make today.
De La Barra says she also feels frustrated by where the country stands today.
I think 250 years, you like see that number and you're like, wow, this is where we're at now. And that feels kind of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or like for all of the effort and work that's been put in, surely there should be more to show for it.
De La Barra says her father is Mexican and her mother is Black. She says growing up in a country that hasn't always been kind to those communities made it difficult to fully explore her identity.
I feel like I am like the product of histories that I don't have access to, in that there are voids and veils in my own family history that results in a lack of access to my own personal history and knowledge of my ancestors.
And De La Barra has a personal connection to both America and Liberty Station.
My grandpa came to San Diego as in the Navy, and this was the first place he came, like right before my mom was born, and he was trained here.
Because of the sacrifices her family made when they first came to San Diego, she says she's still hopeful about the future and proud of the heritage she does know.
I do think that one of the things that I think is beautiful about America, and specifically like being Black in America is this like really rich legacy of creativity. And I think America is a place that is really rich with creatives of all backgrounds.
Even though the country's 250th birthday brings up complicated feelings for both artists, Delavara says coming together through art matters now more than ever.
Each piece of work that we make like in partnership with one another is like one step closer to like building a bridge and understanding that like in many ways like we both are like American. We both live on this like continent in this land that we share.
Their showcase, Fragmented Stories, will be on view at Arts District Liberty Station through July 17th. Audie McAfee, KPBS News.
World Cup fever has hit San Diego. The Swiss national team has arrived at its base camp at the San Diego Jewish Academy. That's their official training site for the FIFA World Cup, which starts June 11th. The team held a community event today for the academy. Students as young as preschool participated in shooting drills, precision passing drills, and scrimmages with Swiss national players.
It's just such a cool experience because literally last season we were playing soccer on this field. And it's just crazy to think that professionals are playing here too.
Players also signed autographs and took photos with the students. San Diego is home to another FIFA training site. New Zealand's national team is training at Torero Stadium at the University of San Diego. Iran's national team is also in the region. Their base camp is in Tijuana.
Well, our marine layer briefly is having a shallower moment. So it's really just the coast that's going to be seeing those low clouds tonight and tomorrow morning. But it doesn't last. A new area of low pressure is going to move in, not really bringing rainfall, but ushering in the marine layer deepening once again and some changes to our temperatures. Now, I said there's a lot of back and forth, not really along the coast, but further inland, especially into the desert areas. We have a gradual warming trend next week, but let's talk about the rest of this week, and then we'll get you started with the extended outlook too. So tonight, upper 60s for Borrego Springs, upper 50s for Mount Laguna. We're at 61 in San Diego, 58 in Oceanside there. By the time we get to tomorrow, well, take a look. Sunny skies in Borrego Springs. Everybody else will have the mix of sun and clouds that we've been dealing with recently. 88 for Ramona, 71 for San Diego, and 105 for Borrego Springs. Yeah. Does it feel like summer? Well, the good news, it's not going to last, but if you do have to be out and about, make sure you're taking those precautions, heat-related illness, hot car safety, all that good stuff. Let's take a look at the 5-day outlook here. First along the coast, I mentioned not a lot of change here. What you see is what you get day by day. It's almost a copy and paste. We'll see some differences in the number of clouds that we have out there. Further inland, we're going from 83 Thursday down to 79 Friday, and then we stay in the upper 70s really for the most part through Monday. In our mountain regions, well, 70s to 60s, back to 70s again. So you'll especially notice a difference from Sunday to Monday, I think. But, you know, Friday to Sunday, it's a 10-degree drop, just a little bit more gradual. We take you to our desert regions. Here's some of the bigger changes into the mountains too. 105 Thursday, we're back to 98 Saturday. Down to 95 by the time we get to Monday. But how long does it last? Well, it's June, so those triple digits, they're brief for now, but get used to them. They'll be coming back. For KPBS News, I'm AccuWeather's Anna Azalian.
From Oceanside to the border, San Diego County is filled with gardens of every imaginable size, scope, and in some cases, themes. KPBS reporter John Carroll visited one in Claremont that takes you offshore and under the waves.
The garden in this home's front yard tells you a serious green thumb lives here. But when you walk into the backyard, the tableau opens up into an undersea masterpiece. Carol Kent is the creative force behind this sea scenery.
And I think it's fair to call you a master gardener.
But no.
Yeah, you kind of made yourself one.
After all, who would take this stubby succulent, put lacy Spanish moss below it to make a jellyfish? The inspiration for all of this comes from decades ago when Kent captained a scuba diving boat. She also did a lot of snorkeling during those years.
And I had 15 years of
incredible stories out on the ocean and the sea. It's just, I'm so lucky to have done that.
Visiting Kent's garden is like snorkeling on dry land, and it's drought tolerant.
If we have normal rain, I don't have to water for 6 months. But then in the height of the summer, I might water once a week.
There is so much to see in this garden of wonder, plants and other little surprises around every twist and turn.
But they don't usually turn red. In fact, the fellow that I bought it from is a specialist, and he has never seen one like this. Agave impressa is its name.
And it is impressive.
I took a class to learn how to make a ceramic fish, and so they're a pretty recent addition. Then it mutates into that form where it's very, very crested. It looks like coral.
And you have your little turtle family here.
The kids love to play with that. Grandkids come and neighborhood kids come.
The largest plant in this seascape is very un-oceanic.
I hope you like avocados.
We love avocados.
Guacamole. And,
yeah, so when we have good years, we have an avocado a day.
Apart from the pleasure that comes with having a place like this to escape to, Kent loves to talk about an unexpected benefit that's come with this garden.
Once a month, I give away a truckload of succulents because they grow a lot faster than you think. So I meet a lot of people through that, and I have friends that I've met by giving away plants, and we do things together. It's great.
But Kent is on the verge of downsizing the garden. It's a lot of work, and a surfing injury she suffered years ago means the physical process of gardening is painful.
Are you wistful at all about this?
I'm kind of a now person, you know? So I feel really good having done this, and as it changes, it'll be great.
A moment in time.
Yep, and it's documented, so I can always go back.
Yes, it is. You're right about that. It'll live on the internet forever.
Yeah.
And also, no doubt, in the heart of this master gardener. John Carroll, KPBS News.
How lovely. And here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. The World Cup gets underway next week, and millions will pack huge stadiums to watch. NPR's Morning Edition reports on the public health concerns at matches. And tune into KPBS Midday Edition for the weekend preview, highlighting the best in arts and culture across San Diego County. Find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 45 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following: and by viewers like you. Thank you. Closed caption made possible by Casa de Mañana, a vibrant senior community with ocean views and engaging programs. Learn more at casademañana.org. Tonight at 8, the relationship between man and his noble steed is explored. Then join Rick Steves on an alpine adventure. And later, the first women of Outward Bound Survival School are profiled. That's tonight on KPBS.